Welcome everybody to your midweek sip from the Cup of Positivity on my other channel, the Soul Bard Collective. Let's go ahead and jam out a little bit before we actually, jam on my main channel for some sprints. See you in a little bit.
Cup of positivity, do 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 do. Cup of positivity, do 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 do. Cup of positivity.
Hello everybody, welcome to something a little bit new we're going to do. This won't last long, it might get longer the more often we do it and the more people who come join in. So for those of you who are joining on the replay, hello there, my name is Jenna O'Malley, or if you're live, I am your soul writer, author of sci-fi fantasy with dashes of romance and nerdy references. Alongside the raw healing stories my diverse characters weave throughout time and space, I help other soul bards such as yourselves continue to create vast worlds that intentionally heal you, your readers, and no matter who else comes in contact with them along the way, depending on what various merch forms you go with in your journey along the path that you may travel. So again, I am doing some live stream sprints over on my main channel, Wizard Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern for the Heart Breathings rating community. And if you want to join me on my main channel tomorrow, we're also doing something on behalf of Women's History Month, speaking specifically about mental health, women, writing, and how representing them in what we read is crucial. Hello, Jess. It's good to see you. Mel from Power Play Press and Scroll and Scribe Accelerator is also here. Good to see you both. Thank you for stopping in. So again, this might get longer the more often we do. A couple of quick announcements and reminders will be at the end. So if you want to hang out for that too, to see what we're doing tomorrow and Sunday around these parts. So we're going to start off going to the back end of ones that we've already gone through and haven't heard for a while on my original channel, I should say. I shouldn't say old, it's still alive and kicking. So tonight's topic's going to focus on when you feel like stopping, think about why you started. Oh boy. Well, why did I start this thing? A lot of us start writing, I think, as an escape. A healthy escape from one thing or another. At least that's how it was introduced to me. Some of you are aware that I was writing fan fiction when I was a teenager because my therapist basically told me to. As a matter of taking it a couple of degrees of separation away from me. But I know that for some of us, whenever the triggers, the blocks get really, really, really in place, we freeze. They call it fright or flight, but there is a freeze mode that often gets forgotten. Big time. And I think as writers, the second we see that blank page, or the second we realize we're behind on our word count, I think as creatives, when we see that looming deadline, or this could even apply to an artist, the paint colors won't mix quite the way they are appearing up here in your mind or in your reference material. Or in the case of my character artist, this character's curls are driving me insane, and therefore, when they say that, I will willingly pay him more. So, yeah, there's a ton of tiny reasons for us to stop. And a couple of my friends and I lately have been facing this together big time. There's something I mentioned in my newsletter recently called the Great Pause. It feels like for about the last 6 months, and happy mid-year birthday to me doing this, ironically enough, because March 6th, I believe. Yeah, March 6th is 6 months either way from my birthday. And it feels like that since about September, there's been this huge lingering freeze in place. Now, if you figure about this time last year where you're from, my friend was giving us the great smudge. So we've been smudged. We've had to deal with the cleansing process that came after, I think, last year. Because I knew about a couple months later after all that happened, I lost a job that really, truly I adored. And a bunch of us had our world shaken upside down, and it's starting to happen again. But this time, it's like the cleansing happened for a reason. So long as those of us who took the time over the last year to do me against me and nobody else time was definitely in play. And you are doing a lot too. You've got a lot going on as part of it for many of us. Very much so. The great pause. You suddenly remember what you're supposed to ask Jenna on the other channel last Friday. See, this is it. I was just about to go there. I feel like I'm being shoved off a precipice this week. It's not a push. I feel like somebody is... Ian, are you shoving me off cliffs now? For those of you who have not been partaken of the Myrna Annals, one of the main characters, Ian, has a penchant for either himself or other people by his hand being tossed off of high places and precipices, out windows and over cliffs and ledges. And now I'm going, it's my turn. Is it my turn? I think it's my turn. I'm in trouble. If it's my turn, I'm in trouble. But in good ways. Happy hump day. Good to see you, Lauren and Nicole. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing great. Oh, thank you. I know why you like Ian. It's because he's tall, Scottish, and doesn't mind sweeping a princess off her feet and treating her like a goddess. I mean, that's why she marries him. Anyway, I think I just described almost every person's main requests in a spouse. But when you feel like stopping, let's recap and cycle back around. When you feel like stopping, think about why you started. For me, again, writing has always been therapy. It literally was set upon me by a therapist. This is going to get trigger happy dark for a second, or as you need a real version of that. Well, I'm trying to at least get it to be a cinematic masterpiece one day of some kind. I can't promise anything closer. Sorry. That's on you and the universe. Jocelyn, hello. Thanks for joining us, my dear friend. Speaking of unicorns, we're talking about a Scot. Anyway, if you want to know why that's funny, it's because literally, if you don't believe me, look it up. The national animal of Scotland is a unicorn. It legitimately is. It legitimately is. For those of you just joining in, our topic of this evening, as determined by the cup of positivity itself, when you feel like stopping, think about why you started. For me, writing is therapy. When I think about all the times I went back to writing in my life, it was when life got rough. I took a long hiatus from writing. I don't think some of you know that. Makes sense. From about college until about 2020, because I was teaching. I was too busy teaching other writers how to write. And so I kind of put my own stuff off to the side. And now getting back to feels like catharsis. And every time I stop, I get back to every time I think about stopping this business, I get to thinking about how horrible I felt those years I wasn't writing. And if the Cheesecake Man's lurking out there, which he may or may not be on his way home from work, he'll admit I was pretty miserable. When I first put out book 2 and 3 the first time around, he said it's kind of good to see old you coming back in different ways. So don't give up. National Unicorn Day! Yes, it sure was on Easter last year. Yes, it literally said, ooh, pick me, pick me. You like that you've almost stopped writing twice and kept pushing. See, you sisters have an amazing story. I've had the pleasure of working with them on a story they're writing called Hunted. And it's just the way you two look at the world. Let me reframe that. The way you two perceive the world in writing because of who you are. If you don't know, their other channel is called The Blind Sisters. It makes the world you live in completely a different, comfortable place. This, it's a muscle that gets cramped up when you don't use it. It really is. This is true of any skill we have. Think of an athlete. When they feel like stopping, what do their bodies do? Even if it's just for for example, Cal Ripken, Baltimore Orioles of the 90s fan here. I specifically say of the 90s because now I'm a converted Red Sox fan. Thank you, J.R. Ward. Anyway, plus the Red Sox are doing better. Sorry, Orioles. Sorry. But Cal Ripken, when he was playing, he looked good. And not just in he's a handsome looking guy, because he still is, but also just the way he cared for his body. He was hitting the gym more. It's the same with us. When you put in those reps, no matter how inconsistent, how sweaty, how, in the case of us vampire authors, bloody it gets, right? And I'm saying that because I know I have a couple of paranormal authors sitting in the audience. We have every reason to want to stop. I mean, especially those of us who write romance, because the competition in the market is really, really blah, blah, blah. The only competition in the market's against who you were yesterday, sweetheart. Don't stop because you didn't like that you took a couple steps backward. Jess, almost quit before you stumbled on. Yep. I remember one of the first weeks you were in there. You got a wake-up call. And this is true about many of us who host for Heart Breathings. It's very, very true. By the way, Sarah is doing HB90 right now. For those of you who have yet to sign up but are considering doing so, please do feel welcome to go ahead and check out my links or if you want to check out the community at large, please feel welcome to go ahead and check out as well. But this is very true. Speaking of Mel, I got melled by Mel earlier. I got some tough love I needed to hear. Jenna, I don't like that my friend is talking about her as if her mother is coming out of her face. I don't like it when my husband tells me that either. Because he'll say, you sound like your mother, and that makes me so mad. Not at you guys, at me. So please understand. I get so mad. Well, you see, she's a Libra. I'm a Virgo. We naturally don't get along. I'm an earth sign. She's an air sign. We naturally don't get along. But, be it as it may, I think when we feel like stopping, we got to take some action. So let's do some soul truth. It's been a while. When you feel like stopping, you, as one of my teachers, Matt Schaefer, of Full-Time Purpose, often says, follow the triggers. Aaron Doty says it. Victor Odo says it. Sarah Cannon says it. All of us say it. Follow the triggers. It's probably why I write what I write. Speaking about which, 3:30 on Sunday, Writing to Heal podcast. This week, what is this week's topic? I know I picked it already. What is this weekend, Jenna? 5 things. The 5 things to unblocking your creativity, I think, is what we're covering on Sunday at 3:30. So when you feel like stopping, in addition to those 5 things we're going to cover on Sunday, think about why you started and add this one to it. What if it's easy? Because it probably is easier than you're, criticizing Virgo saying this here. It's probably easier than you're criticizing yourself into believing. So it doesn't have to be hard. Call in the universe, God, Moses, Mary, Joseph, the donkey they rode in on, Buddha, Allah, purple monkey dishwasher. Thank you, Matt Schaefer. The angels and all of their powers find the solution. Would you take the next step if it were easy? It's time to expect ease. Call in grace, divinity, self-care can also be that, and receive any guidance, clarity, ease of mind you need. I mean, if you're among the people in this chat, we know you're supported. Remember hearing this quote for the first time and she's talking to someone else and you have permission to suck. Yes, yes. And that kind of goes right in with today's soul action. Kind of goes right in line with that, Jess. List 10 possible ideas, 10 permissions to suck, consistent, committed, imperfect action. Matt, Aaron, Victor, you've made a couple of you've had an impact, guys. Just saying. Anyway, lean into ease. It's here. You just have to say yes. I mean, now mind you, I don't need a bunch of yes men in my life. I agree with J.R.R. Ward, one of my favorite authors of all time, on this notion too. I don't need a bunch of yes men. I need a lot of WTF are you thinking people, because that goes more so both ways. And I will have to admit, thank you for being part of my WTF crowd there, guys. What is she doing now? Epic awesome things. Speaking of epic awesome things, I am going to go ahead and get us ready to go into some sprints here in a little bit. So do join us for Wizard Wednesdays if you want to continue being cheered on while you're doing whatever work you're doing for your small business and more. But also go ahead and join us tomorrow. A panel of female presenting friends and I are getting together and talking about Women's History Month, mental health, and why it's so important that books continue to portray the female divinity and aesthetic in a healthy way, not just for women, but for all involved. Again, on Thursday, we'll have that. On Friday, we will have my normal sprints from 8 to late on my other channel. I think I'm taking Saturday off this weekend. Sunday is going to be right back here where we're going to go ahead and also do our Writing to Heal podcast. And don't forget, I'll be releasing a meditation that's a little bit more in-depth, tarot messages and whatnot tomorrow too. There's so many amazing things coming down the pipeline, including something that I'm proud to be offering months before I thought possible. So you want to be an author tuber? We're going to do it together and get you up and running live. See you all over my other channel in a little bit. Thank you all for being here. And above all, you better be taking care of yourself. You've been worth it from the beginning.